Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Hey, that breaking news, a woman shot overnight. What you're seeing here is a live look at police on that scene in Durham. What police are telling us right now and the questions that we still want answers to.
And get out and enjoy it while you can. We have one more day where the muggy meter is going to feel very comfortable. And then after that, we're back to feeling like summer.
Plus, paying more to park. When downtown parking prices are set to go up in Raleigh, just how much more you're going to pay and where that money is going to. Well, thanks so much for joining us dark and early here on WRAL News. It is Friday. We have made it. Congratulations. I'm Chris Levingood. So let's go ahead and talk about the weather forecast this morning. Comfortable temperatures outside Elizabeth. I walked out and I said, well, I don't feel like I'm going to melt outside. That's some progress.
It really is. It feels so nice out there. Very similar to yesterday. Our temperature is a couple of degrees cooler, but we're looking, of course, at pretty much the same dew point out there as we did yesterday. 66 is our temperature. Our dew point sitting at 63, and that puts us at nice. And our temperature 59 in Roxborough, 67 in Fayetteville, and 65 in Goldsboro. So definitely looking at a real comfortable start this morning. Our 24-hour temperature change anywhere from about 3 to as much as 7 degrees cooler than yesterday. So we're dropping it down into the low to mid 60s in some places. It is still going to be a hot afternoon with a high of around 90 degrees. And so we're looking at some warm temperatures this afternoon. The humidity stays low, though, for most of the day. And then we change things up. It starts to get a little stickier Saturday. And now we have a chance for severe storms on Sunday. We'll walk through the weekend coming up.
All right, sounds good, Elizabeth. Well, a person is hurt and a building is damaged because of a crash this morning in Raleigh. Police responded to this apartment building on Forest Oaks Drive around 3:15. They say that a pickup truck crashed into the side of a building at the North Oaks Landing Apartments, causing extensive damage. What you're seeing here, this is live right here. You can see that truck right here on your screen. Now, the person who was hurt is expected to be okay, but police are still investigating how this crash even happened. Okay, let's get to that breaking news. A woman was found shot overnight in Durham. Let me show you where this is. On Old Oxford Road around 2 o'clock this morning, as you see here on this map. Let's bring in Kirsten Clark. She's been at that scene for a while now trying to get some information. Kirsten, what have you learned since you've arrived?
Yes, Chris. So as you mentioned, we're here at the scene on Old Oxford Road. This is at the intersection of Danube Lane. And you can see here behind me, Durham police are blocking off a section of Old Oxford Road. And this is near a laundromat, a tobacco shop, as well as a car wash, and it looks like some sort of car repair shop. Now, I want you to take a look at this video from the scene when the WRAL breaking news tracker first arrived around 2:30 this morning. You can see the front window of the laundromat appears to be shot out. You can see dozens of evidence markers. They were in the road as police, forensics, and the Durham County Sheriff's Office investigated. At one point, police looked to be questioning people from the tobacco shop next door. And right now, Durham police tell us a female victim was shot and she was found at a store. And they say shots were fired at the nearby Oxford Manor apartment. So at this time, we're still working to confirm and learn more information, including how many people were involved, exactly what happened when it comes to this shooting, as well as if police have any suspects and the extent of injury. So we, of course, will bring you those details as soon as we have that information. Live in Durham, Kirsten Clark, WRAL News.
So starting today, court hearings in North Carolina could face delays. Certified court interpreters plan a statewide work stoppage, and that's because lawmakers left out funding in the new budget to increase their pay. You see, court interpreters help people who have limited ability to speak English in order to communicate with judges, attorneys, and court staff during proceedings. Without them, it can mean postponements in cases ranging from criminal charges to domestic violence protection orders. Certified interpreters currently earn between $45 and $55 an hour. But neighboring states such as Virginia and South Carolina, they pay much more than that. So we asked the North Carolina Judicial Branch about this work stoppage, specifically whether it will have a contingency plan in place if interpreters do not show up today, if court hearings could be delayed, and whether current pay is enough to meet the state's obligation to provide meaningful language access. The judicial branch referred WRAL to the information on its website, but did not answer any of those questions. And so we're following more information regarding that work stoppage. Make sure you stay with us up to date on the WRAL News app and during our evening news starting at 4 p.m. Well, starting tomorrow, you're going to have to pay more to park in downtown Raleigh for the first time in about 8 years. On-street spots will go up 25 cents from $1.25 to $1.50 on weekdays. And city-owned parking decks will cost $1 more. Non-event decks, like the one on Wilmington Street, will go from $2 to $3 an hour on weekdays. The daily rate will be $21. Event parking decks, like the one on Cabarrus Street, will be $4 an hour, 7 days a week. The city says the rate hikes are needed to keep up with costs.
It has put additional pressures on the parking program to provide the level of service from a cleanliness standpoint, security, and upkeep on our decks. And so these increases are really intended to try and help us address a lot of those outstanding issues.
2 hours of free parking inside most parking decks is still available on weekdays, just so you know. And WRAL is looking for answers this morning after 2 more semi-trucks were torn open by the Peace Street Bridge in Raleigh. Folks, these crashes happened just hours apart yesterday, and this marks 6 cases like this in the past 2 weeks. Instances of trucks being damaged by the bridge have been happening for years now. It's happened so often, the bridge has been nicknamed the Peace Street Peeler. Well, this is despite warning signs that are leading up to the bridge. You should be able to see them right here, these clearance signs. People who live in that area, they are concerned about traffic backups.
It's already a high traffic area, without an accident occurring on that street.
And this is why we reached out to Raleigh police asking how many crashes they've responded to here and how it compares to previous years. And WRAL wanted to see if the sign located near the bridge accurately displayed its height. The bridge unofficially measured at 12 feet 9 inches high with a laser distant measurer. A pole pruner extended to 12 feet 4 inches. The height displayed on the sign was able to pass under the entirety of the bridge. Now, again, these aren't official measurements, but if anything, it appears the sign underestimates the height of the underpass. New numbers show cyclospore infections are still going up in Wake County. The health officials in our county now report 460 cases, and the number of hospitalizations increased to 11. State health leaders are still working to identify a source of what is causing all of these infections. And the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office is investigating because human remains were found. Deputies say they located those remains around 4:30 yesterday afternoon, and this was in the woods off Deep Creek Road in Fayetteville. Now, they haven't identified the remains, but deputies are asking anyone with information to contact them. And Zebulon police are looking for a driver involved in a hit and run. Police say the driver of a gray Volkswagen Atlas hit a bank on Wakelon Street. Now, the car drove off and then it was going north on Arundel Avenue. So we're still looking into that story. Police in Holly Springs are looking for a man wanted in connection with an assault investigation. They say he was involved in some kind of encounter that left someone hurt. Officers are also trying to identify a woman in this picture you see here. If you know who they are, you're asked to dial 911. Well, tomorrow marks 6 months since the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Deputies in Pima County, Arizona say the investigation it is far from over. They say DNA and digital evidence analysis remain the focus of their search.
We have so much DNA to sort through. We have so much in terms of video evidence to look at. It's just really hard for, I think, the community or the public to understand how these cases work and how they evolve.
The sheriff also said the evidence is complex and time sensitive, but he's holding on to hope. He says the answer to solving the case could just be one call or a tip away. A federal judge is looking into whether the DOJ properly redacted documents that were released under the Epstein Files Transparency Act. The DOJ gave several unredacted versions of documents linked to Epstein to the judge for a private review. The judge will assess whether the department was justified in redacting certain portions of the documents. The Associate Attorney General says the redactions were made so victims and law enforcement personnel were not identified. The judge previously ordered the department to release the records in full or explain the redactions. The father of a teenager who pleaded guilty to a mass shooting at a Georgia high school is also going to prison. Colin Gray is the first parent of a school shooter to also be convicted of murder for the shooting. He was sentenced yesterday to 15 years. Prosecutors say he purchased his son Colt an AR-15 style rifle and left it unsecured. Now, despite warning signs about his son, earlier this week, Colt Gray pleaded guilty to killing 4 people and injuring 9 others at a school at Appalachia High School in September 2024. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. And unsecured guns were actually the topic of the WRAL documentary Unsafe. It looks at the effect of gun violence on children. You can watch that on WRAL.com. All right, so we are learning a bit more about UNC's decision to put football GM Michael Lombardi on leave. Chancellor Lee Roberts spoke about that yesterday outside the Board of Trustees meeting. He told us UNC learned of the concerns last week. On Monday, the university announced Lombardi was on paid leave. Now, considering both the troubles on the field for the football team and off the field in the headlines, WRAL's Brian Murphy asked Roberts how much confidence he has in Coach Bill Belichick's regime.
Coach Belichick is the most successful coach in the history of the sport. I know he's focused on getting the team ready for the season. I think we start practice today, and everyone's excited to kick off the season against TCU in Dublin.
Now, while Roberts stood behind Belichick with that answer, he did say he's disappointed and distressed to be talking about the Lombardi situation. He says he wants to keep the focus on the student athletes. All right, tonight the Carolina Panthers will host their preseason fan fest at Bank of America Stadium. Now, this exciting night in Charlotte allows you to sit in on the team's practice and see live performances from the Panthers entertainment teams. It all wraps up with a fireworks show. Gates open at 5 this evening, and the excitement starts at 6:30. And WRAL's Chris Lee will be there. He'll have live reports starting in our 6 p.m. newscast. Time on the clock this Friday morning, 4:41. K-9 death answers. We are learning about the changes that are being made and what one sheriff's deputy was doing after leaving their K-9 inside a hot car for hours, and that dog died. Plus, life-saving effort. We're hearing from the California teenager who saved one boy's life after he lost balance in the water.
And it feels really good for us again this morning. That muggy meter is sitting right there in the middle at tolerable, but it starts to change tomorrow. I'll show you when it starts to feel more like summer and when we have more rain in our forecast. 4:44. It's a gorgeous start out there this morning. We take a live look downtown, or right here in our backyard, I should say. At the top of the tower is lit in blue for clear skies. Town by town, it feels really nice. Look at that. 61 in Lewisburg, 64 in Tarboro, 65 in Southern Pines. It's still 70 in Goldsboro, but we're mostly in the low to mid 60s, which is about 5 degrees cooler than yesterday. And we're going to hold that dew point nice and low today. But the afternoon will still be warm. So by the pool at noon, 84. And we're still looking at a high this afternoon close to 90 degrees. But the humidity will stay low, so you can find a shady spot. It still feels good. Everything begins to change tomorrow. It starts to get more humid on Saturday, and then we have the chance of some strong to severe thunderstorms on Sunday. I'll show you what time those could start coming up. Chris?
All right, sounds good, Elizabeth. We do need to get back to some breaking news right now over in Cary. There is a large police scene at a neighborhood off Carpenter Fire Station Road. That's near NC 550. This is where we find Ali Kadabar. She arrived there moments ago in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. Ali, I know you've only been there for so long, but what have you learned?
Yeah, well, we went down Parkman Grant Drive and we saw officers there. Some were putting on, it looked like tactical gear. They told us to move back outside of the neighborhood, and that's where we're seeing EMS and a fire truck here. This is Cameron Pond neighborhood, and so we did hear a call about a reported shooting. We are working to confirm that. We have reached out to Cary Police, but this seems like a very active situation happening right here in this neighborhood. Again, Parkman Grant Drive near Carpenter Fire Station Road. We are working to find out some more details about what's going on in this neighborhood. Of course, we're going to stay on top of this. Reporting live in Cary, Ali Kadabar, WRAL News.
The Pitt County Sheriff says a canine officer whose dog died in a hot car will not face charges. However, that officer will also no longer be assigned a dog. The Pitt County Sheriff's Office says Canine Chili's handler forgot she was in the car. The handler found the dog dead 4 hours later at the end of his shift. In a new interview, Sheriff Paula Dance called what happened a tragic accident. She also answered a question on many people's minds. What was the handler doing while the dog was in the vehicle?
I know that at some point he did paperwork. I've established that at some point he ate his lunch in a break room, and then he went back and did more paperwork.
The SBI is investigating this case. Flock cameras are sparking bigger conversation on whether they're more helpful or harmful. The Vance County Sheriff's Office says a Wake County woman who you just saw is in jail because of flock cameras. Authorities say Candace DeYoung was located with a missing Henderson child by officers with Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police. Vance County Sheriff's Office says they used a plate reading camera system through multiple counties in this case, and that is what led to DeYoung's arrest. Now, she's being held under no bond and is expected in court next month. Okay, there was this intense crash that happened in Philly that was caught on camera. The video shows a loose tire flying across the interstate before slamming into that SUV there. The tire bounced and bounced over the median and then hit the vehicle with such force. Pennsylvania's state police are investigating where that tire came from. Officials have not released any other information about possible injuries, though. Goodness. And we are now hearing from a 16-year-old California lifeguard who jumped into rough waters to save a boy. Now, we showed you this video earlier this week, and now the teenager says he was just doing his job. The video of Ryder Williams jumping into action last weekend gained national attention. Williams says he was at the waterline when he saw the child lose his footing in ankle-deep water. Well, he quickly radioed it in and then ran into the water. The boy's father is grateful for Williams' heroic effort.
It means everything to me. My children mean the world to me. That's why I'm just eternally and forever grateful. Anything I can do for them, I owe them my life.
And the accolades have just been pouring in for Williams. And he has even been invited to the White House. So in a statement, Ryder Williams said, quote, "This is my job and I love what I do. I am thankful to my fellow lifeguards who perform rescues just like this every single day." You know, Elizabeth, we always talk about it whenever things happen on our coast, right? When there's rough waters, you definitely want to get in. Don't get in, especially if the signs are up. But to know there is someone who is well prepared to save someone in danger, that's comforting.
Yes, good feeling all around. I'm sure that the lifeguard was, feeling good about it. Obviously, the dad and the kids. So always good to see a happy ending out there for sure. We have a happy ending to the work week, and then we're going to talk about the weekend. It's another beautiful day. Lots of sunshine, a touch warmer, but our humidity is still nice and low, and our temperature this morning even cooler than it was yesterday. But take advantage soon because it will warm up some this afternoon. We're looking at scattered thunderstorms starting on Sunday and lasting all the way into next week, and we may have some severe storms Sunday as we begin to change up our weather pattern. But beautiful start to the day. Overnight last night, Pete McKay from Derby in Richmond County sent us this spooky look at the moon. We had a full moon overnight last night or this morning. Janet Holder from Broadway sent us this one. I mean, some fantastic photos there. Go to WRAL.com/report it and send us any photos that you have that you'd like to share with us, and we'll try to get them all on TV. We take a look from our Jimmy V camera down through Fayetteville Street downtown. 66 is our temperature, our dew point 63, so it really feels nice and comfortable. We're going to get back into those morning lows in the 70s with really sticky conditions, but soak this up, enjoy it. If you've been putting off that morning run, great morning to do it. Temperature 62 in Chapel Hill, 65 in Holly Springs, and 66 in Knightdale. This afternoon, we do climb up to 90 in the Triangle and 93 in Fayetteville. And Durham Bulls game at the first pitch, temperatures are probably going to be in the mid to upper 80s, but we will cool off, and our humidity stays low, so it'll still be a nice day for a ball game. High pressure keeps us dry today and keeps all the moisture or humidity away from us. But look what happens on Saturday. I'm just going to run this out into Saturday. This is the humidity that starts to creep back on us on Saturday. So things will start to change. Notice by Saturday, we're getting up towards steamy, and we're tropical for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. 90 is our normal high, and we do hit 90 for today. That's the only 90-degree day in our forecast, but we are looking at that big pattern change with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, already a level 1 risk for Sunday. And we're going to walk through that. Notice that lasts all the way through Thursday. At least that chance of rain does. I'll show you how much more rain we could get next week coming up, Chris.
Well, we could use a little bit more to end this drought. Thanks, Elizabeth. Time is 4:51. Making upgrades. How you can be a part of the changes coming to RDU by casting your vote. The 3 designs you could choose from.